Howdy everyone, Pulcher here with an Age of Magic video, and in today's video we're doing the hero spotlight for Valyra, the ranged damager for the vampire count. Her and Vendi are coming out towards the middle of May, I believe it is. They are the next two characters to be released into the game, which I believe will complete the vampires for now, with them not having a healer. But they don't necessarily need a healer, so who knows? When the healer does come out, I assume it's going to be kind of like an Impus type healer, where he's not really efficient in healing per se. He deals damage more than anything else, because they really don't need healing. Their whole kit or their passives have pretty high inbuilt healing put into them. That's the reason why they don't have one at all, because they don't necessarily need it. So let's get into it. We'll go over skills, descriptions, talk about how this character is potentially going to be used. And with the 6 now released, or we'll go over all the skills eventually with Vendi as well, we can potentially talk about what will be the main setup. But with 6, you can use them in clan battles defense as well as a full 6-man team, which would be very, very scary. So yeah, let's get into it. Valyra's basic skill is Ready the Blunderbuss. Performs a ranged physical attack on the target. Has a 20% chance per ally to cast Blindness on the target for 2 turns. The hero's accuracy is reduced to 0. Awakening this skill, damage is increased by 25%. Casts Blindness, ignores Fortitude, and casts a Vampire Court Mark on the target. We'll go ahead and look at the animation of the skill on the middle Gatekeeper. Why not? Keep in mind, these Gatekeepers have pretty buffed HP. Someone did comment that on the last video. There we go. Actually, it was pretty slow. Let's just go ahead and look at it again. There we go. Beautiful. Sorry for the lag there. And a pretty nice animation. I think, yeah, it's interesting. We're getting pistols in the game. There are a little few here and there. I mean, we've got Void Gunner's big cannon, but it's not the point of the spotlight video. So there we go. The vampire mark is quite important. I believe it actually does play a pretty big role for this character in particular. So I think it's setting up herself. Off memory, I honestly can't tell you who casts marks. It's probably one of the things I don't pay attention to, because the mark system, I don't know. I feel like it doesn't even belong in the game. They had a chance for the mark system to be great, and I think it's just kind of been overlooked the entire time of this game's history. I really wish it was a really cool intrinsic system, but it is what it is. Blindness, awesome. Keep in mind the blindness, the AI doesn't understand. Well, doesn't understand it. The AI will automatically just use basic skills on a character if they have blindness on them. So it's a nice way to prevent special abilities from being used on an enemy if you're trying to really min-max a fight. Valyra's second skill is Powder Blast. Casts 1 range damager rune effect on herself. Upon reaching 6 range damager runes, Valyra increases her initiative by 100% and casts an effect on herself for 3 turns that will allow Valyra's attacks to always hit the target. Upon reaching the limit, range damage runes reset to 1. Valyra receives 1 range damage rune every time an ally misses an enemy or dodges. Deals 2 physical strikes on the target in a ranged attack. Repeats this attack 2 times. More, choosing targets randomly. Okay, so it's a very interesting rune. Just from how I'm understanding it, it only prevents her from missing. Now, she does get full initiative. I guess that's the bonus that we're really after, and then you get the benefit of not missing the skill you're about to use. Awakening this skill, damage is increased by 25%. Damage from this ability removes 1 random buff from the target. Always nice to see buff removal. So we're going to go ahead and cast the ability. So she will bang, and then she'll cast it. Bang, bang. Beautiful, and bang, bang. Nice, all right. I feel like there is definitely the potential to get a lot of damage out of this. And we got 1 range damage rune as well. But if we've looking back at other videos where we're testing the vampires, it's really hard. It's really hard to build medallions for damage on these characters, because if you're going up against, and I'm just using this faction specifically because it is currently the meta, witches, they're going to one-shot you immediately off the bat. So yeah, you've really got to make the call. Do you want damage reduction and survivability, or do you just want to go super glass cannony and be able to deal a lot of damage but be very vulnerable at the beginning, or be vulnerable in general to large bursts of damage? Other than that, nothing crazy about this ability. It potentially has the chance to be pretty decent buff removal from the enemy, which is always nice. Always nice to be able to remove buffs from the enemy. That's for sure. And yeah, like I said, someone mentioned in my last video, these characters can't do any damage against gatekeepers. These aren't regular gatekeepers, all right? So just ease up there, all right? Moving on to the third skill, and I have it up on the screen as well because it's a very long description. A lethal shot removes dodge increasing effects from all enemies, reduces the max HP of all enemies by 100% of their missing HP. Deals 3 physical strikes to the target in a ranged attack. If Valyra has reduced the enemy squad's max HP by a total of 30% or more, she ignores all damage reduction effects, including those from medallions. Haha! Beautiful. And casts 5 stacks of sacrificial blood on the target. At the end of the turn, they take damage equal to 75% of Valyra's basic damage per stack. Upon reaching 10 stacks, damage is dealt, and the stack resets to 1. Awakening this skill ability cooldown is reduced, further reduces the max HP of enemies based on their missing HP, and the hero bound by the mark takes more damage. So yes, like I said before, mark's one of those things that we generally skip over, but this character has a mark that actually does something. So if she triggers the Vampire Court mark, activates the Vampire Court mark, casts bonds on the target and another random enemy, binding the two heroes together. If successfully cast on the hero, it is cast on a second, ignoring any blocks or restrictions except Veneer's absorption. When one hero takes damage, the bound hero takes 85% of that damage. When all enemies are attacked, both targets take additional damage. Bonds cannot be cast on more than 2 enemy heroes. Bonds can be recast and expire if a hero dies. This also triggers the range damage class mark, but a hero can only have 1 mark on them at a time. So if anyone needs an example of this, Bonds is the ability Nefara has as well. And there are other characters. I think there's one more. I told you, like, it's getting harder and harder to recall everything in this game. I do believe there is one more Bonds hero. I want to say it's BB. BB. Haha, it's not a witch, it's a druid. But yeah, this is actually pretty strong. This shot. HP cut is, I think, increasingly stronger as the game progresses. With heroes that have such huge damage reduction pools, that have such huge damage reduction abilities, who have massive abilities to resurrect, heal, this and that, with more and more damage mitigation and health restoration that comes into the game, it is good that you are able to just permanently cut an enemy's HP because it just makes them eventually easier and easier to kill. In saying that, the game is also progressing to a point where fights are decided so quickly. I don't think there are many fights that you don't know the outcome of in a few turns. But yeah, if you can have a fight that lasts a little bit and you can take effect of this HP cut, then I think it will definitely serve you well. Let's go ahead and look at the hero's animation. So she's going to cast this skill. Yeah, nice. Beautiful. It does fair damage. Like, that was hitting 3.6 mils. Like I said, massive gatekeeper health pools. Okay. So there we go. And as you can see, it cuts the HP. It hits multiple times as well. So keep in mind. And from what I can see, let's go back to it. I just want to see something. If we can put the mark on this gatekeeper here, I don't think the mark actually matters, but I want to see if we can cut this gatekeeper's HP. Okay, no. All right. So what I just wanted to check there was the initial hit cuts the HP, but additional hits don't add to the cut HP. As you can see, he's missing HP. It wasn't cut 100%. The original missing HP was cut by 100% and then followed on from there with just regular damage. It's very interesting. Like I said, it's just good to get rid of HP. It's wonderful. Finally, we have Valyra's passive, Loyal Agent. Restores HP equal to 80% of the damage dealt by active abilities. She's doing lots of damage. She'll constantly have HP being restored. Valyra deals 100% more damage to heroes with shields. Ignores damage reduction effects except those on medallions. Okay, so that's nice. So she just straight up ignores damage reduction. And then she can ignore on medallions in one of her other skills. When an enemy with sacrificial blood uses a special ability, Valyra counterattacks them with damage increased by 30%. Oh, okay. Interesting. She's going to do a lot of damage. Oh, man, I really wish you could build... I mean, there's nothing stopping you. You could really build this character full attack damage if you wanted to. It's keeping her alive. That's the scary part. But if you can figure out a way, if there's a combination of heroes that you can build that keeps this character alive, I don't know. She's not. She seems nasty. When an allied vampire's HP drops below 30%, all enemies lose 50% initiative, and allied vampires gain the same percent of initiative. Triggers no more than once every 3 turns. All right, that's decent. Awakening at the beginning of the round casts an irremovable initiative reduction block on herself. Beautiful. For 3 turns. Restores more HP from damage dealt by active abilities. Yeah, nice. Nice. I was going to say she's my favorite vampire. I think she's my favorite vampire. However, with the release of Freya, I don't know, Freya is also spicy. Really spicy. These two characters together, I think, are going to be absolutely menacing. Absolutely menacing. Anyway, without seeing Vendi's skills yet, I have kind of looked at it. Can't remember off the top of my head. Let's talk about these characters. Because there's 6. How are we going to use them? You have a few options. You can use them as a full set of 6 in Clan Battles Defense if you want to. If you're going to try and break them up, how would you break them up? You have several options. 2 that I can think of. Number 1, you could put Freya in a Virishan melee squad. I think she would do very well in there. And use that again in clan battles. And then you would use Viorica as the 5th character. I think Viorica is the exchangeable character. You can take a character out of the vampires and use Viorica as a replacement, and then use that removed character elsewhere. But Freya is the character that I believe has the most use somewhere else, simply because she's a melee damager, and Virishan squads are actually quite powerful in clan battles. So that's my only thought in terms of being used elsewhere. Any other characters, again, without seeing Vendi, not too sure. They have no healer, so I think you're just going to try and go for the strongest build possible. But there's also 2 ways to build the team. You have 2 options. Number 1, go for a team that really just amps up the sacrificial blood effect, which would be the Viorica. Or you go for straight up burst damage, which would be the Freya and the Valyra combination, because they're both really, really good damage dealers. And then you can play around. There's a few little pieces you can move here and there. Who knows how that will change when the healer comes out. Like I said, it doesn't really seem like a faction that needs a healer, so I don't know how we're going to make use of that. That's a problem for another day. I can't see it coming out anytime soon. We've got the 2 new vampires. We've got a little bit of a glimpse of 2 new Crimson Order members coming along. Who knows what's going to come out after that. I don't think we've had any hints to where factions / expanding factions is going past that point. No, actually, that's not true. There was a post in the Insiders a while back talking about Guardians, Elemental Guardians. So that could potentially be a thing as well. So who knows? Normally, when they start letting Insiders know about factions, it's pretty much setting the path. There we go. Anyway, there's Freya. Not Freya. Valyra. The vampire names are going to get me so badly. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. We'll answer to the best of my ability. And wherever you're around the world, until next time, please take care of yourself.